It was a dark, gloomy evening when Jack Carter received the email that would change his life forever. The subject line was simple: exclusive tour of HMP Shepton Mallet, the most haunted prison in the USA. At first glance, it seemed like just another publicity stunt or a prank. But something about the message caught his attention. Jack was a journalist, the type who chased stories wherever they led, and his curiosity often outweighed his sense of caution. He opened the email. The message read, HMP Shepton Mallet, the place where darkness resides. If you think you're brave enough, come join us for an exclusive tour. Witness the untold stories, the voices of the past, and perhaps something more. Sign up today. Spaces are limited. Jack didn't hesitate. The thrill of the unknown, of uncovering secrets long buried, was too tempting. He replied immediately, confirming his spot for the upcoming weekend tour. The drive to HMP Shepton Mallet was long and winding, the dense forest surrounding the area giving it an eerie, isolated feel. The prison was located in the quiet countryside, its towering stone walls looming like silent sentinels. The place was built in the 17th century, and its reputation for housing some of the most dangerous criminals in the country had earned it a notorious place in history. As Jack pulled up to the entrance, he noticed the heavy iron gates creaking in the wind. A cold chill ran down his spine, though he brushed it off his nerves. He wasn't alone. A group of other people stood gathered near the entrance, their faces a mix of excitement and apprehension. Among them was Emily, a young woman with a camera around her neck, ready to document everything. Then there was Michael, a local historian who seemed more curious than scared. The last member of the group was Thomas, a former inmate of Shepton Mallet, now a recluse. His haunted eyes seemed to know something that the others didn't. Welcome to HMP Shepton Mallet, the guide said, his voice low, almost reverent. Tonight, you'll see things that cannot be explained. Are you ready? The group nodded hesitantly, and the tour began. The prison's interior was a labyrinth of narrow, dimly lit corridors, cold stone walls, and rusted iron bars. The air was thick with the scent of mold and decay. As the group walked deeper into the prison, the atmosphere grew heavier. Jack's camera flickered, and the light seemed to dim for a moment. Did anyone else feel that? Emily whispered, clutching her camera tighter. Jack glanced around but saw nothing. It was just an old building, filled with the remnants of time, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching them. As the guide led them to the infamous solitary confinement cells, the temperature dropped drastically. Jack's breath came out in visible puffs of mist, and the others huddled together, trying to ignore the overwhelming sense of dread that had settled over them. Many of the prisoners who were kept here were never the same when they left, the guide said softly. Some say their souls never left the walls of this prison. Jack rolled his eyes, dismissing the notion as superstition, but a part of him felt uneasy. The walls seemed to close in, the sounds of their footsteps echoing unnervingly in the silence. As the tour continued, strange things began to happen. Jack's camera malfunctioned repeatedly, flickering and turning off. Emily's camera, which had been fully charged, suddenly went dead. They chalked it up to technical difficulties, but deep down, each of them felt the growing unease in the pit of their stomachs. Then it happened. They had entered the old execution chamber, a small, cold room where prisoners were put to death. The air was thick with a strange heaviness, and the group fell silent as they looked around. Jack could feel the weight of the past pressing in on him, the tragic history of the place almost palpable. Suddenly, Thomas, the former inmate, spoke in a low, trembling voice. This place, it changes people. The things I saw here, the things I heard, they never left me. His eyes were wide with fear and his hands trembled. Before anyone could respond, a loud bang echoed through the room. Everyone froze, their hearts racing. The door to the chamber slammed shut, the sound deafening. The group turned to the guide, but he was nowhere to be found. Panic set in as the lights flickered again. A cold, clammy hand brushed against Jack's arm, but when he turned, no one was there. "Let's get out of here," Michael said, his voice shaky. But as they tried to move toward the exit, the door remained locked, and the room seemed to stretch, becoming impossibly larger. As the night wore on, the group found themselves trapped within the confines of the prison. The walls seemed to shift and pulse with an unnatural energy. Shadows moved just out of sight, and whispers echoed through the halls, though no one else was there. It was Emily who first made the connection. "This isn't just a haunted prison," she whispered, eyes wide with realization. "It's a prison for the souls of the dead. There's spirits here. They're trapped, just like the inmates who died here." The group was shaken by her words, but before they could discuss further, the temperature dropped to an unbearable low. Jack's breath became visible in the freezing air, and his heart pounded in his chest. Suddenly, a voice whispered in his ear, "You shouldn't have come here." Jack turned quickly, but no one was behind him. His mind raced. Was it a ghost? Was he losing his mind? The final piece of the puzzle came when Thomas spoke again, his voice barely audible. "This place, it doesn't just trap souls. It traps anyone who dares uncover its secrets. And soon, you'll become one of them." In a desperate bid to escape, the group ran through the halls, but the prison seemed to distort around them. The walls closed in, the corridors twisted, and the shadows grew long and menacing. At the heart of the prison, they found the old, dilapidated chapel, a place where many prisoners had prayed before their executions. Here, the air was thick with the presence of something ancient, something dark. And then they saw it. A figure, draped in tattered prison clothes, stood at the altar, its face hidden in the shadows. It moved toward them, the cold air around it swirling violently. A voice echoed from the figure. "You have disturbed the peace of this place. Now you will join us." The group tried to run, but it was too late. The doors slammed shut, trapping them in the chapel with the figure. The air grew suffocating, and Jack felt the cold hands of the dead reaching for him, pulling him toward the darkness. When morning light finally broke through the thick fog, the police arrived at Shepton Mallet. They found the prison abandoned, the gates wide open. But there was no sign of Jack, Emily, Michael, or Thomas. The only thing left behind was a video camera, recording nothing but static. And so, the legend of HMP Shepton Mallet grew. Some say the souls of those who dared to uncover its secrets still wander its halls, trapped forever in the darkness. Others claim the prison is still alive, feeding off the fear of those who enter, ensuring they never leave. But one thing is certain, Shepton Mallet is no ordinary prison, and for those who dare to uncover its truths, there is no escape. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on the bell icon so you get notified first whenever we post more horror and spine-chilling stories. Until then, bye. See you in the next heart-stopping horror story.